Okay, so chances are, if you've seen any of my YouTube videos, you've seen me build or assemble a door before. And we'll just run through this again really quick if you've never seen this before. What I have ready to go, because once we start messing with glue, we want to get this right the first time, is I have my wood glue. This is just all-purpose original wood glue from Type Bond. And I have a pack of baby wipes or some wet paper towels, whatever you need. And what we're going to do is we're going to start working this quickly. We're going to get the wood glue, and we're going to put it just on the tongues, okay? We're not going to put any in the groove. All right, make sure it's on there nice and good. I'm actually going to put some on the shoulder of this cut as well. That'll help seal that joint. All right, and I'll slide this into the stile. All right, let that go there. And I'll repeat that for over here. This takes a few minutes to do. It's not that hard. So this is why the dry fit is really important. You don't want to go right to the glue up. If you have any problems or mistakes, you want them resolved. So I'm going to slide this panel in there as well, okay, while I'm gluing this up. Make sure that's good and seated. Good. Get a lot of glue spurting at the joints, which is what's going to happen until we get our wipes ready. It's going to, way more is going to come out once we clamp it. So I'm just not worried about that for now. I've seen a lot of people use brushes for this portion. If you want to use some disposable little paint brushes, that works too. I've used that before. The only issue is unless you clean your brush, it's pretty much done for because this wood glue will kill it. So if you want to use that and then wipe it off, you can. Okay, so then our top stile goes on. Okay, make sure it lines up with the panel. Good. All right, so now I'm going to situate my clamps. These are K-body style clamps. I don't know why they're called that, but that's just what they are. I'm trying to move this out of the way. Again, this is my loose door, so it's going to want to do stuff if I'm not careful with it. All right. So I'm going to situate these clamps like so, and then I'm going to take this door and just drop it in between these clamps. All right, so now we're ready to clamp. So what I'm going to do, and I'll probably swing this around so you can see that a little bit better. All right, I'm going to make sure my end is flushed here, and I'm just going to push these two clamps together, and then with the knob, you tighten it. All right, so make sure, I'm really just trying to flush the ends up here, and then I'm going to squeeze that together with a good amount of pressure. And I'll do this over here as well. Make sure my ends are as close to flush as I can get them. If you need to move them around, a good way to do that is with a hammer and another block of wood. You don't want to hammer the wood directly. All right, so this one, they're all pretty good. All right, so now I'm going to take my wipe. I'm going to wipe off this glue. All right, so if you're worried about any gaps in here, if you have any gaps where your door meets your stile, the clamps should pull them together. If they're able to be pulled together anyway. Make sure you get the bottom. So this is a water-based glue. So having some wet wipes with some basically water in it is pretty effective. Okay, I'm not worried about any fuzz or sawdust or any of that stuff. I do want to make sure there's no glue in these little corners because that would be a pain to get out. All right, now I'm going to stand it up. I'm going to look at the back. What I'm going to do at this point is loosen this a little bit and try to walk it out, okay, and then retighten it. And I'll do that over here so you see what I'm doing. I want to create a gap between the door and the bottom of the clamp. All right, I still want to keep it tight, so I'll retighten these down a little bit. All right, so now I can get back here on the back side of these clamps and get the glue out. Okay. A lot of glue. Ah. All right. All right, any extra glue that will kind of glaze over these joints, we can remove with some sanding later. That looks pretty good. The door panel looks nice and centered. It's not moving, it's snug, because this particular door has the space balls in it. Space balls. Space balls, the cabinet hardware. Mel Brooks missed a marketing opportunity with that one. All right. So this guy's pretty much good to go. If you have a limited number of clamps, if you only have 2 clamps, you got to stop here and wait for this to cure. I think the manufacturer says a few hours. Do not stress joints for 24 hours. So overnight we would let this cure, and I actually can just put it on the floor and kind of carry it around like this. Which is really nice. But again, if you only have 2 clamps, you can't do any more doors. So I think you at least need 4 to 6 clamps in a round. These are from Jorgensen's Cabinet Master. They're okay. These particular clamps are probably 30 or 40 bucks. I have another style from Bessie, which I prefer. These are kind of a pain to use a little bit. But these doors look really good. What else? Another thing I wanted to point out is if you're in a hurry and you still want to move on to the next set of doors and reuse the clamps right away, you could actually put a nail through this joint, right through the rail, right through the tongue, and that way it stays retained. So you could put 1 down here, 2 down here, 2 down here, 2 over there, 2 over there. Our cabinets upstairs in our kitchen, which are built by a professional cabinet shop, and they're a name brand or whatever they are, they have small little pin nails in the back that they didn't even fill it. So you only see them if you open them from the back. The issue is you're going through 3/4 of an inch of material, so you probably need to use like a 1/2 inch long pin nail or something like that. So just keep that in mind. You can't use I have 3/4 inch pin nails, but they would probably go right through it, and I don't want to mess the door up. So I'm okay letting this just bake on its own. What else? The other thing you want to check is once you clamp it up is kind of to look down the door and make sure it's not goofed up at all in any sort of hokey way. So I'm actually going to, it could be taken out of square if that happens. So I'm actually going to re-drop it and push down on these while I clamp this to make sure that the door stays square. And you can actually tell when I let go, this corner lifted up. So we'll do that there. The other thing we could do is check for square. I'm going to take my tape measure. All right, 27.5. 27.5. Just about, yeah. So that looks pretty square to me. Maybe a 32nd of an inch or something off. Very, very minor. Yeah, no, it's actually 7/16. 27 and 7/16 both. So it is a perfectly square door. As close as we're going to get it. I'm going to look down, make sure it looks nice and flat, and it looks good. So I'm pretty happy with that. This corner is up a hair. Good. You don't want to over tighten these. You don't really want to kill it, because what can happen is these stiles, as you push them into the rails, and if you crank them, and if there's any kind of gap or movement in there, you could actually buckle them down and buckle them up. So the stiles would be up or down relative to the rails, and you don't want that. So if you were to put your door in the cabinet, the sides could be out or they could be in, and it won't sit great. It's less noticeable on overlay doors, but on inset doors, if you have a door that kind of has any kind of wing or movement to it, it's going to be really obvious when you try to push it into the door frame, and the door sitting there and you'll have a couple corners popped out. So that can happen, so you want to avoid that. So I'm just going to put these off to the side. And that one's done. So now I'm going to do the same thing on my other door, and I have to go build the door for the top cabinet. It's the same process. I should have done that when I was doing these, but I forgot. So I got to go do that. And so that's it for the door assembly. I'm going to be using these clamps for the next one. I like these better. These are the Bessie style ones. You get these at Lowe's or Home Depot, I believe. They're easy. They move a little more fluidly, but they're the same basic function. All right, so that's all you need to know about assembling these doors. Let me go ahead and do the rest.